Hey guys, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tiffany.
And we are Sisters of the South. We are here in our SOS studio today, sending out a bolo for a missing person.
Bolo.
Bolo. The only thing we're going to ask of you today is to hit that like button. Also, share the video. We are in the business of finding missing people. So the more that you share, the quicker that we can find these people and bring them home. We're also going to ask that you hit the notification button or the notification bell. So every time we do an upload, you'll get notified of those videos. And also subscribe. We appreciate every subscriber. It is very important to us, and that keeps us going and able to get as many videos out in the YouTube universe as possible. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Tiff so she can get started on the story.
Okay, guys. Angie Hammond, was an outgoing 20-year-old, and her fiance, Rob Schaefer, was a star athlete in high school. They got engaged when Angie found out she was pregnant, and he promised he would always take care of her. On April 4th, 1991, Angie dropped Rob off at his parents' house and told him she would call him a few hours later. According to Rob, that was about 10 o'clock. I was going to meet her back uptown as soon as my mom got home. I was watching my little brother at the time, and she called later on that night. As promised, Angie called Rob about an hour later from a payphone in the center of town. She was just 7 blocks from his home. According to Rob, Angie mentioned a truck had circled the block a few times. She said it was an older model green Ford pickup truck with a picture of a fish on the back window. Angie was unconcerned until the truck parked by the phone booth. Then the call took a turn. According to Rob, he used the phone next to her, got back in his truck, and looked at something with a flashlight. She described the flashlight to me over the phone. He was looking for something. I had her ask him if he needed to use the phone. Maybe the other phone was broken. And he said no, he'd try again in a minute. Then we just talked about other things. We weren't too worried about it, and that's when I heard her scream on the phone. I heard her scream. The only thing that went through my mind was getting up there and finding out what the hell was going on. I just dropped the phone and ran out of the house. I didn't hang the phone back up and just headed up there. As Rob was driving toward the payphone, a pickup truck sped past him in the other direction. Someone yelled out the window, "Robbie!" That's how I knew it was them. Rob turned around on the street and chased the pickup through downtown, but he didn't realize that when he threw his car into reverse, the transmission had been damaged. Rob said that he chased the pickup truck for about 2 miles before the transmission failed. Marcia Cook, Angie's mother, said Rob blamed himself for it because he always told her he'd be there to take care of her, and he tried. He did everything that could be done. Nobody blames him, but I think he thinks people blame him. Angie's kidnapping sent shockwaves through the town. The police and citizens searched far and wide by both air and land, but found nothing. The best hope for cracking the case rested on locating the pickup truck. Detective Damon Parsons of the Clinton Police Department states, "We had some assistance from the Missouri State Highway Patrol that did a computer search on all registered vehicles. Through their help, we had 1,600 possibilities that we had to check as far as color and whether they had any mural on the back window. None of the possibilities were a match. The police had based their investigation on Rob's testimony, and when no witnesses could back up his story, Rob himself became a suspect."
Interesting. First of all, they're looking for a truck with a mural. I thought,
Yeah, mural, like
or
one of
mural,
those.
but I
Do you
thought it just
remember
had a
back?
fish. I think it's a Christian fish, is probably what it is.
Actually, I think I kind of remember this. I mean, we're in Texas, guys. We kind of like our fish murals, I guess, in the 80s.
Yeah.
But they had like those black fish, like fish coming out of the water type things.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they're talking about because they said a
Okay.
mural.
Yeah.
Within a week, Rob was cleared. Shortly after, police connected Angie's abduction to two other unsolved cases within 100 miles of Clinton. The first had occurred 3 months earlier near Max Creek, Missouri. On January 19, 1991, 42-year-old Trudy Darby was working alone in a convenience store. She called her son to report a suspicious man loitering outside. Trudy's son hurried to the store but found it deserted after just 10 minutes. 2 days later, Trudy was found on a riverbank 10 miles from the store. She had been fatally shot twice in the head. About a month later, 30-year-old Cheryl Ann Kinney was reported missing in Nevada, Missouri, roughly 70 miles from where the body of Trudy Darby had been found. On February 28, 1991, Cheryl Ann had also vanished from a convenience store where she worked. She has not been seen since. Then, less than 1 month after that, Angie Hammond was abducted. Detective Parsons thinks the three cases are linked. Authorities suspected that a serial killer was on the loose in west central Missouri. Angie's mother, Marcia, said that she just wants answers. If anybody out there sees anything, if they could put themselves in our place and know how we feel and how heart-wrenching it is that she was taken, even if the guy that took her sees this, if he would just call and let them know what he did with her. On the 30th anniversary of Angie's disappearance, new details were provided to the public. A confidential informant's testimony in court was a key part of stopping a big illegal drug operation. Police say that when the identity of the informant was revealed during the case, he got a letter with cut and paste characters. It looked like a ransom note from a kidnapping movie. The note addresses the informant by the number that was given to him to keep his identity secret before the court case. It also mentions the informant's estranged wife by her first name. The letter was sent on April 4th, 1991, the same night Angie Hammond was abducted. The informant's wife and daughter, also named Angela, were living in Clinton, Missouri at the time. The police said some mistake was made as to the identity of the targeted Angie, who had some physical resemblance to Angela Hammond, resulting in Hammond mistakenly being abducted. As of April 2021, that theory was still being investigated. Angela Angie Hammond was 20 years old and 4 months pregnant at the time of her disappearance on April 4th, 1991 in Clinton, Missouri. If you have any information regarding Angela's disappearance, please contact Clinton, Missouri Police Department at 660-885-2679 or Missouri State Highway Patrol Missing Persons Unit at 800-877-3452.
Wow. At the very beginning, the boyfriend was real suspicious to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it just sounded a little
I have to say,
dramatic and
the
over
entire
top.
story sounds suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And in 91, who knows if there were surveillance cameras.
I doubt it.
And if there was, they were probably pretty crappy. So that's really interesting. I'm hoping that they figure out if this lady is Angie, is the real Angie.
I do too, but I do have to say most people think it's the boyfriend.
They still do. They still think he is. But the mother
That
thinks he's innocent.
story, though. I mean, he just
Yeah.
runs out and he just happens to like pass by the truck.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
it's interesting that he got there. I mean, how close was he to the
7
store that
blocks.
he got there as they were driving off?
7 blocks.
7 blocks. Yeah. Why didn't she just drive over to his house instead of standing
Or
there and
him
talking
pick
to
her
him?
up.
Yeah.
What? Well, no, she dropped him off. So she could have just gone over there.
Yeah.
Now, one thing was saying maybe she didn't want to go over there because she was tired, but she could have gone home to call him.
Right. Why are you standing
at a phone booth?
At a phone booth in a convenience store, which, listen, convenience stores aren't safe for ladies. Get in, get out. But standing at a in a phone booth making a phone call if you're, just down the street, or just go on home, like you said, and call him. That story's not making sense as to why she would do that. It didn't sound like she was in any type of distress until the guy pulled up. So it's not like she was calling him due to an emergency. It sounded like they were just chit chatting about random
They
stuff.
were chit-chatting, and she didn't even feel uncomfortable until the guy just sat in his truck. So he came out, used the phone next to her, got back in his truck, and I guess he was just kind of sitting there, which
it makes me wonder if he wasn't privy to these previous abductions, and maybe he used that to throw the cops off if he's the one that did something to her. Because this happened in April, right? And the other ones was like January, February. So it's possible that he was familiar with that story or knew that that was going on.
it's possible, but as we know, there have been people that made up stories of being kidnapped.
Yeah, very true. And look, there's stories out there of people who've been kidnapped and held hostage for years. You know, held in as a wife, and have children with this man who kidnapped them, and they just live in that
Yeah.
out of fear for their own life. So that is a possibility. But gosh, there's so many open-ended questions.
I have to say, I mean, the story sounds very suspicious. It sounds like a movie.
Yes. Yeah, it's very dramatic.
But so does the information at the end of the story.
Yes.
It kind of sounds movie-like too. I feel like the
Yeah.
whole story sounds
Fishy.
Yeah. All
Very
around.
fishy. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody needs to come forward and be honest at this point. I mean, we're talking 33 years.
It may never happen.
The
sadly.
likelihood of her family ever knowing the truth is probably slim to none at this point.
Yeah.
So, wow. That's crazy. If any of you guys know anything, if you live in that town and you've heard stories, rumors, anything, reach out to the police. The family needs closure on this. I can't even imagine going 30 years not hearing my child's voice, not knowing where they're at. She was 4 months pregnant. So all of those hopes and dreams vanished along with her. And that's sad, you know? So, yeah.
And also, guys, let us know what you think. I would love to hear your ideas. It is a wild story all around. So let us know what you think.
Yeah. What do you think happened? I mean, it's interesting.
All right, guys, that is the story for today. But until our next episode, please remember to see the good and stay imperfectly perfect. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.